Good afternoon, everybody. This is the Miz in the midday on a Saturday. On a Saturday full of football news. On a day where the Northeast is snowed in. And I'm going to bring in right away to begin my main man, Mac. What's going on, Mac?
What's up, Miz? How you doing today, man?
I'm good. I'm home. Trying to get this football talk. We're snowed in. There's nothing else to do on the East Coast. As we've been hit by a big storm, so this is where we're at. But there's some news today regarding the Giants last night, Brady today.
Yes, sir.
What's going on, Mac?
He called it a career, man. After 22 years, it's Tom Brady, man. I mean, a lot of people have a lot of things to say about Tom Brady, good, bad, or indifferent. But I have the ultimate respect for Tom Brady, man. Man played 22 years in the NFL. I mean, he's the same age as me. He's only a month younger than me. I couldn't imagine rolling over and getting out of bed and playing football in the NFL right now at my age. and Tom Brady, he's been doing it, man. Been doing it for years and doing it at a very high level. Still playing up to like right now. If he wanted to, he could physically go out there and play again next year. But I think it is definitely time. I mean, he has nothing more to prove. 7 Super Bowl rings, 3 league MVP awards. I mean, Tom Brady's done it all, man. Almost every passing record imaginable. So there's just nothing more for Tom Brady to prove, man.
Right, 22 years, 7 championships. I know he lost 3. Doesn't really matter to him.
Yeah.
I think that this is that Tampa Bay was in what were they, $50 million over the cap. So they didn't have the money to bring back the players that he would like to have there in order to make another run. And if you're not making a Super Bowl run, then Brady doesn't have any reason to return.
Well, they went all in this year on it because they retained like everybody from last year. I think they pretty much brought back all their starters on both sides of the football last year, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. I think probably there's a few stories out there. You don't know. You will never know the real truth until we hear it out of his. I think that he's been leaning towards it, so it might not be 100% confirmed yet, but it's not a shocker. So we wait to hear it from him. But yeah, 22 years of football. Not many people can do that. I don't know how the guy's done it. I know that he doesn't eat anything outside. He keeps a strict diet. He works out hard. He also rests his body. I'm sure he's got the best chef in the world, the best trainer in the world, all that, all the things that you need, that you invest into your body to play longer. I think LeBron James does a lot of that also. So,
oh yeah, I mean these guys.
It makes sense if you're gonna be a pro athlete. The more you invest your own money into your body, the longer you get to play and make more money. So it makes sense.
Absolutely, man. These guys gotta take care of themselves, man. They want to sustain a long career, like you said. Nothing doesn't get much longer than with Tom Brady at the quarterback position too. 22 years at the quarterback position. I mean, other than the 1 year he missed when he tore his knee up the 1 year. I mean, that's amazing.
Right. Yeah. So, Mac, what we want to talk about because we're Giant fans. What do you feel about the new coach that we have now that we have Joe Shane and Dabble, both Buffalo guys together, which we kind of had a feeling about a week to 10 days ago that that was the route to probably go. A lot of us wanted it because it would make sense, and it's the first time the Giants have made sense in about 7 or 8 years. So, how do you?
I feel really good because I feel like we're doing things the right way. Finally, for a change, it's actually making moves that make sense. Because I mentioned I did a video yesterday after they hired Dad, they made the announcement, and I mentioned in the video that like when we first hired Joe Judge, I initially was mad about it. I was angry, and then like I said, I let him convince me in his press conference and all this other. I let him talk, but I let him kind of convince me. So it's like I didn't want to get faked out again like that. But at the same time, this just feels good This feels right. These guys, you've seen what they've been doing with what they've done with Josh Allen over the course of the last couple of years of his career. And I know, look, I'm a realist. I know Daniel Jones is not Josh Allen, but at the same time, maybe these guys can come in here and at the very least make Daniel Jones coach him up to make him look at least like a competent starting quarterback, decent at least. I'm not looking for him to come out and be Josh Allen 2.0, but just be a better version of the Daniel Jones that we've been seeing. And maybe these guys can bring that out of him. And I feel really good. Like I said, Joe Shane won me over when he came in and recognized immediately that the offensive line has to be the priority. That won me over because it does. People keep saying you need a new quarterback, you need a new quarterback. It doesn't matter who's playing quarterback here if we have an offensive line that cannot protect them and do anything. It's just not going to matter. The offense will always struggle if this offensive line is as bad. It remains as bad as it has been the last couple of years. So right. I'm just excited for all kinds of change. I'm excited for a complete new era. It's as refreshing as a Giants fan.
I feel the same way. I was excited. About a week and a half ago, I really wanted these two guys. I expressed that. Some people wanted Flores. I just felt like Flores right now. We just went through Judge, and not that Flores is Judge. Of course, he's got a lot more experience. But his personality, his attitude, it's a lot like Judge, and I don't think it would have matched the GM that we just brought in. It didn't look like a match to me. You're gonna have one guy who does things a certain way. He's calm. You can tell he's laid back. He's not a loud, rah-rah type of GM. He seems very classy and put together. The other guy is, he's loud. It could be good, man. He's loud. He's aggressive. He's a rah-rah guy. He's gonna intimidate him, and it got get to a point where they don't get along, and we're back to square one again. So I like. Also, people say, Dabo hasn't had any head coaching experience. Listen, let's get serious. The guy's been in the league for 20 years, man?
Yeah.
Okay. Just because he hasn't been titled a head coach don't mean that he's not a coach. Okay. He's been around. He's won championships with the Patriots. He's been around the best. He was in Alabama. Now he helped lead a Buffalo offense that I believe was number one in the league this year, or number one in the red zone. I believe it was 66%. And I understand the quarterback is Josh Allen. So, anybody can play good with Josh Allen. I don't know if that's necessarily true. You got to give the guy his credit. Maybe he comes in here and maybe he, if the Giants really, and we don't know really what's really going on in the GM and new coach's mind, but if they really want to give Jones a 1-year shot and they feel that they could fix things by putting together an O-line or not losing anything by giving Jones one more year with Barkley. And if they're going to put together an O-line, I think Daniel Jones would be a much better quarterback than we've seen. We all know what the problem has been for the most part. Go to this draft, stock this O-line. We have the picks. There's no excuses anymore. So I actually believe in this GM, and I believe that's what he's going to do, and he's already hinted at it.
Yeah, I definitely. That's what I'm saying. I definitely.
So let's see. We're out there again today about Russell Wilson. So people are starting to throw that around again. Anything for stories on a slow day, especially in the Northeast. So, I just don't see. I think the biggest thing with the Giants about getting one of these quarterbacks out there is that they are not willing to trade away these picks. They're very valuable to building this O-line. I'm going to bring in Adam because I told him, he's waiting on.
Yes, sir.
What's up, Adam?
What's going on, Adam?
Man? I thought we was doing it together. All of a sudden, I'm like, what the heck's going on, man?
I came in from the storm and it went fast, and all of a sudden it was 5:30. I called Mac. I said, dude, I don't even know if anybody wanted to go live or not. So it was
you said me and Mac going live Saturday. I said, what time?
Yeah, I sent it to you. I didn't want to put it in the group because I want people to wait so we could talk a little. I'm going to take people's calls, but in a little while, we're going to do a little schmoozing first.
Yeah, Brian Daboll, man. Miz has got me convinced. He and I had back and forth on Flores. I liked Flores for the head coaching experience, and that's what my main concern was just a leader of men. But hey, Daboll has been around some good mentors, good guys, good coaches. Sean McDermott, great guy to mentor. I mean, he was with Parcells and Saban. I mean, the list goes on and on. He's got 5 rings. I mean, he can literally come in and show those rings on his finger and say, listen, I was a part of these. You want this? Follow my lead. You know what I mean? And I'm not, I mean, I don't care what he says on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, whenever he gets his press conference. Because remember, like Max said, I was all about Joe Judge. I was like, yeah, man, we're going to punch people in the mouth. We're going to kick them in the nuts. Then all of a sudden we're getting kicked in the nuts at the end of the 2021 season. So, I mean, this dog and pony show thing, I don't need that shit. Just come in, tell me, hey, listen, we're going to do our best. We're going to put our best foot forward. We're going to fix the offensive line, and away we go. That's it. I don't need to be like, don't put any expectations on winning. Don't put any expectations on, making the playoffs. Just be better than last year, be more productive offensively, get the right defensive coordinator in here. I know people want Patrick Graham, but if Wink Martindale's there or Vic Fangio, upgrade, man, upgrade. There's nothing wrong with upgrading. I feel like Patrick Graham, unless he gets signed with somebody, you can always fall back on and be like, all right, man, I went through my things. These guys didn't work out. I'd love for you to be here. If he says no, fine. If he says yes, great. But at least explore Vic Fangio. At least explore Wink Martindale. I know they have to do a minority candidate too for the offensive coordinator to get Ken Dorsey. It's a lot going on with this Giants, and if they can get Dorsey and a good defensive coordinator, away we go, man.
Absolutely agree, man. It's just so exciting and refreshing, because we know things are going to be different. Hopefully, a good different though. Hopefully for a good different, but things are definitely going to be different than we've seen around here in a long time. So. Yeah, because
I mean, since 1979, this is the first time they've had a new GM outside the building. So think about that, right? And someone non-Giant ties. It hasn't been in the building since 1979 when they hired George Young. So, I already like Joe Shane. Some of the things that he's hinted at and the little nuggets he's dropped out, lead me to believe he's going to be firm when he needs to be firm, tough when he needs to be tough. He ain't going to be no walkover. And they're actually letting the GM do what they want to do, because I thought in this whole process, I'm like, Mara loves Flores. He's going to overstep his boundaries and be like, you know what? I know you like Daboll, but I'm, because of what happened with Judge McAdoo and all this crap, I'm going to go with Flores. And he went with his gut, and he let the GM choose. So to me, that's a step in the right direction. Mara can put his ego aside and say, hey, young buck, get us to where we need to go. So I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. I'm excited. I think it's the first time in a long time that we have some stability. Let's call it that. It looks like we have some stability. I know when Judge came in, we were all excited, and he gave us that high school speech that got us wanting to run through the wall. I remember that day, and I admit I fell for it. But
Rod and sinker. Everybody did on this thing.
Yeah,
but I think but Miz, to be honest with you, I think that one was kind of crappy because they still had Gettleman. So we're like, are we really, we're really doing this well? Somehow Pat Shurmur got the raw deal because of Gettleman. So then he's like, oh, save my job. Let's hire Joe Judge. And we're all like, yeah.
Yeah, that was the difference, definitely. But that was a big difference, and I like that. It looks like Mara liked Flores, but he allowed this guy to choose his guy. That's the right way to go. So
that's the way you got to do it.
That's a good thing. Instead of cutting him off right away before he even started and saying no, we're gonna go with the other guy. As a coach, he let this guy choose the guy he wanted. I mean, it made sense. They came together from Buffalo, whatever. So he knows him. They're connected. And we'll see who else they bring in. But I have a good feeling. I have a real good feeling about this GM. I can tell you that. I just take a look at him, and it looks like he looks like he has his shit together.
I mean, that's the beauty of it all, man. Like, you got his GM, we got a new GM, a new head coach that are absolutely going to be on the same page. That's I feel like there's no question about that. They're going to be on the same page. They're going to want the same guys. There's not going to be. I don't think that's going to be an issue. You're not going to have situations in the draft room like you did last year when with Gettleman looking like he was having a hissy fit when we drafted Kadarius Toney or whatever. Like when the pick went in, you're not going to have issues like that anymore. You're going to have guys that are all connected and all in sync. And that's just going to help this team grow, man. Like Adam said, I don't expect this team to make the playoffs next year. We have a lot of work to do. But at the same time, just see some progression, some true progression, and look like an NFL football team again. Because it's not so much the losing that hurt me this year. It's the way we were losing and how pathetic we were looking in the process of losing. I could accept losing because we're just undermanned, don't have the talent to compete with the opponent. But we got to at least look like a competent NFL football team again. And that's what I'm looking forward to going forward, man. Absolute progression.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do with Daniel Jones, because here we are in year 4 with this guy. This guy has been given a lot of excuses. I think Joe Shane is going to, and Dable are going to be like, listen, we're giving you 1 year. That's it. We're going to provide you with what we need to provide you, line, the skill players that you already have, and an offensive scheme that fits your skill set. And if you can't produce, then you're gone. You know what I mean? And so for me, that's an ultimatum. I also like to think the fact of how he's already prepared Shane the first 4 rounds of the draft. So you're not looking at a guy who's completely in over his head. He already has an understanding of what guys are. I also like that, like you said, Mac, the communication is going to be there. I think what did Brian Dable in is the few things in Miami, and then not having an offensive coordinator ready to go, saying, hey, we'll let you hire the offensive coordinator. I can hire whoever you want. Well, what if Mara said Jason Garrett? And Flores like, sure, why not? You know what I mean? Like, that to me was his downfall in the meetings. Like, you got to come in correct. You got to be like, yo, this is my offensive guy. I called him yesterday. He's ready to go. Here, I'm going to run the defense. I'll keep Patrick Graham because, he and I were friends. You got to walk in there, ready to get this job. And I think Flores just kind of bowing down to the ownership saying, well, I can hire whatever offensive coordinator you want, probably did him in, to be honest with you, if it's a tight race. I know they wanted Daboll, and from the jump, it probably was Daboll, but they said that Flores made a strong argument. To me, if I'm going through all the bullet points, probably something about Miami was bad, and then probably not having the OC is what also cost him, because there's no development plan for Daniel Jones. With Daboll, they're saying, well, I can get Ken Dorsey. Look what he did with Josh Allen. My offense is going to fit his skill set, although I don't really want Daniel Jones running because every time he runs, he gets injured. So I'd rather kind of keep him safe in the pocket. But we'll see if Daboll can prepare the mental hurdles that Daniel Jones has, the dropping backs, the brain farts that he has when he gets in trouble and he throws across his body to the other team to a lineman just sitting there on the ground. You know what I mean? Lineman wasn't even up. He was on a knee trying to get up, and you threw the ball right to him. Like, my point is, if he can fix those mistakes and tell Daniel, like, it's okay to live to fight another day, because I think Daniel played a little hero ball as well this year as well, because he was trying to do too much. He knew he had, like, if you look at the Saints game, he let the game come to him in that game, right? And everybody got open. Barkley did what he needed to do. The ball was going over the yard. Actually, one of the best game plans Jason Garrett had. But then this will be good because hopefully Dable doesn't go, okay, here we go. Here's the next game plan to run all curls. Oh, here's the next game plan. We're going deep. Hopefully it's just consistent, because I think Daniel Jones struggles with a few things. 1, mental processing. 2, the consistency of an offensive game plan every week. I feel like Joe Judge wanted to change up with the opponent, and sometimes you don't want to do that. Sometimes you're just like, we're running this offense. We're going to see what plays work. We're going to call the plays, execute,
Right. Right. I think you know how I feel. I feel like maybe if we get an O-line, which we probably will try to do this draft and off season, I give Jones 1 more year and give him a real fair chance, because even though I know people don't think he's that special and he's not a Josh Allen, I feel like he's shown some flashes and we haven't done him any service at all, man. We've pretty much destroyed any chance of him being something. So, and
sorry, Case Keenum showed flashes, is what I'm saying. So, like,
yeah,
I know, I what I want to do is, I know a lot of people, and this is what I'm hearing. Oh, it's going to be like the Buffalo Bills offense, and I don't think you want to put that expectation level on Daniel Jones, because you may fall short and be disappointed. And we got to let this guy develop, because, like I said to everybody, it takes a few weeks to learn an offense. So out the gate, we're going to have to figure out if he can tread water while they're learning this offense, And the things I love about his offense are their concept. They hit all layers of the field. And by the way, they have a check down. I mean, I know, Shermer's offense, Eli was check down Charlie, but sometimes you can be check down Charlie, get the 4 yards, the 5 yards, put us in 2nd and 5, 3rd and 2. You know what I mean? Like, a check down works on a 2nd and 3, right? You're doing a shotgun, you're in spread formation, your running back comes to the backfield, he motions out or he motions in, and there he is. He's one-on-one to the linebacker. I'll take those chances any day of the week. So I'm just excited to finally get an offense where I'm not snoozing halfway through the drive.
Well, like,
you don't really have to beat the Bills offense, because the Bills offense looks great, but it hasn't won a Super Bowl yet. So
it hasn't.
You don't have to be the Bills offense to be a good team or win championships.
But like what Miz was saying, I do agree with what Miz was saying. Daniel Jones, to me, in my opinion, he has shown me enough good things in a sense that makes me believe that you get a good, competent offensive line in front of him blocking. This guy can at least, like I said, be a competent starter in the NFL. I believe, like, you just go back to his rookie season, like his rookie year, that offensive line was absolutely horrible his rookie year. It wasn't like it was a good old line he was behind, but he still threw 24 touchdown passes in Shermer's offense behind, once again, a terrible offensive line. So to me, if you get the offensive line in here that can protect this guy with the legitimate weapons, which he already has some decent weapons around him, I think he can be at least a competent looking quarterback, possibly. And if he's not, then definitely he's got to go. You know what I mean? But I feel like with these new coaches coming in, it's worth one more shot, especially given the fact that, like I said, I'm not sold on the quarterbacks in the draft in this draft class, and I'm not really trying to give up a bunch of draft picks to acquire Russell Wilson or anybody else for that matter. But so I just think Daniel Jones probably should get at least one more shot, one more crack.
I mean, he agrees. So I think he's on the last year of his deal. He's in year 4. So, there's no harm, no foul, right? If you bring in a competent backup, a Mariota, Mitch Trubisky, you have a guy that's going to pull him, because to me, Daboll has no loyalty to Daniel Jones. So if Daniel Jones struggles, I would hope he turns to Mitchell and goes, listen, get in there and take Daniel out and sit him down, because we tend to get caught up in keeping a starter in and not hurting his feelings. But maybe his feelings need to be hurt. Zach Wilson got injured and was out for a few weeks, and it actually helped him because he sat down. He got to see the offense run through somebody else in a different lens. And then when he came back, he had a more improved skill set than when he went out. So I'm thinking, if you have a problem with Daniel Jones and he starts to struggle and you have a competent backup, you don't have like a freaking Mike Glennon or Jake Fromm, you could say, listen, we're benching you, and away we go with Mitchell, and don't look back. Don't be like, oh, we're going to put in Daniel, because, again, this GM, this coach have no ties or loyalties to him. He's a guy that was left over from the previous regime. So, like I said with my couch analogy, you move into a new house, you need a couch, he's your couch. Use it. You might as well wait till you get the money to get a new one. And if he does well, great, keep him. Save yourself a few dollars. But the other thing about getting a new quarterback, which I think they will do, is the contract. You don't have to pay the man that much money going forward, right? So if Daniel Jones does well, you're going to have to pay him regardless, but are you going to want to pay him in the middle of all this, right? When you could just kick him to the curb, get your quarterback in 2023, be on that rookie deal, and continue to build your team that way,
I mean, I also do agree with that point, Will. Like, as far as bringing somebody in to push him, I mean, you can't make it comfortable for him. You can't make it easy for him. You can't just so hand the keys over to him. You do have to make him earn it. You know what I mean? I do 100% agree with that. But like Miz is also, like I said, again, what Miz was saying, man, the kid has not been. We haven't done him any favors, straight up. And I honestly don't believe that this kid is on. I think we may have any chance for success he has in his career may not be here in New York. That's kind of how I feel right now. I feel like we have pretty much kind of ruined him at least here in New York City. I mean, maybe he can go on somewhere else and become the quarterback he was supposed to be when he get picked number 6 overall. But I think right now, honestly, the way I truly feel about it the most is just that it's just not going to happen here in New York. I just don't really believe that.
I mean, Bobby Jones is the type of guy that everything has to be almost perfect around him. That's probably not going to happen. But at the same time, what he's had is almost a complete disaster. Almost every year he's been the quarterback here. So the Giants haven't done anything right around him. Again, it's all we keep saying the same thing, man. It's the O-line. There's no O-line. Some guys can play good without an O-line. A guy who could run like Jackson, Vic back in the day, these type of guys. But that's not who Daniel Jones is. That's not what he was brought in to be. And also, we didn't help Barkley out either. You drafted him second in the draft. He's supposed to be a star running back. And we haven't, he's had some injuries. But how many times has Barkley gotten a handoff and 2 guys are waiting in the backfield to hit him?
That's too many times.
Come on, we can't run normal running plays because there's no holes, no blocking. I just want to go in this draft and do the right thing, man. They're all offensive linemen, and we need to. To me, I draft 2 of them with our first 2 picks, unless you could get a trade down.
I think I think Dane Brugler said it best. There's
what we need to do, and I don't fall off the road and get no sexy wide receiver, okay? Because we did that last year.
Dane Brugler said it best. He said this draft is very strong in the offensive lineman position. They may not be as great, but there's a thick number of them in there. So I agree with you, Miz, in terms of getting a lineman. However, my plan would be to try to fill out some of these holes with free agency so you're not dependent on that second pick in the first round having to be a lineman. You know what I mean? Because I think that second pick should be used either in a trade scenario or another position that we needed, which is an edge rusher or some type of defensive lineman that we need, because I feel like, or maybe a corner, depending on if you get rid of Bradbury, right? Like we need a flexibility in the first round. And then in the second round, you and I have been sending back and forth prospects that are rising in the draft, right? So there's going to be guys in this draft where you can get in the second round. You can get your center in the second round that could be your center for the next decade. I'm not saying don't take Linderbaum at 7. All I'm saying is think like this. We have so many other holes that if you overstock in one position, you're basically robbing Peter to pay Paul, because you're like, well, I don't need a safety right now. Let me get like a 6th round safety and draft, a lot of linemen and maybe a tight end here and there. And then your cupboard's bare when guys go down. Remember, guys went down unexpectedly in the line and we didn't have any depth. And that was really the main issue. Our depth was Billy Price and a few other bums off the street.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I don't know who's out there in free agency. We don't have much money. I'm not going to make up some number that people are throwing around when we don't know that's true. I think with a few of the cuts that we're going to make, we might end up around $30 million or so. Maybe we could get 1 or 2 guys. We got to sign our draft picks also. If we're going to draft 2 guys in the top 10, that's going to cost us, right? So I'm really not looking for a big free agency, Adam, because I think that first we'll draft. I think this guy is going to do it the right way. So you build a team through the draft over the next 2 drafts, and then next year, after next season, we have money, and then you could go into free agency. I think this year, for the most part, leave free agency alone.
I agree with you, but I think, there's 18 guys walking from our team, right? And, I don't know how many we're going to re-sign from that 18, not to mention guys we're going to cut to change up their roster standing, right? Their money standing. So with that number being in mind, you're going to have some type of plan to bring in something. And I know that there's a couple guys that are on the Buffalo that are restricted free agents and unrestricted free agents that are in the O-line room. And for me, that's just a no-brainer. I think if you look at Gettleman and Shermer and what they did, Gettleman pulled a ton of Carolina Panthers over with him, and then Betcher, he pulled a ton of Cardinals over with him. I expect the same kind of philosophy with Joe Shane, bringing over guys that already know the system that can kind of, I guess, send the message to the other guys. Like Logan Ryan, when he came in for Joe Judge, he was kind of spreading the message like, hey, this is what this guy is about. Here's his philosophy. So I'm not saying spend a ton, you and I both know there's going to be a purge across the league with teams trying to get under the cap. So maybe you can sneak through a nice young guy that might come off the board and fill your roster like that. Because, like I said, I'm not opposed to the 2 first-round picks being linemen, but I also don't want to miss out on a guy who could help our defense, because whomever the D coordinator is going to need weapons. I mean, Patrick Graham needed an edge rusher. It's clear as day that he needs another edge rusher. And, Leonard Williams needs help because, they're not getting pressured. The linebackers, we have lack of depth there. I like Tay Crowder, but I don't think he's a starter. I mean, I know he had 100-something tackles, but, there were some days where I watched him literally get in the hole, put his head down and miss a tackle. I'm like, what are you doing? Blake Martinez, we forget how good he is. So I would love to pair, Devin Lloyd with that guy, right?
Right.
And now you have a great defense to build off of the offense that doesn't need to be miraculous. You need the offense to score points, and you need the defense to stop them when they need to stop them. So, I'm hoping this all happens. I don't care anymore about Daniel Jones. I'm just going to support him. I'm just going to see what happens. If their arguments come up about, hey, your quarterback stinks, I'm just going to be like, whatever, man. I'm not arguing with it because it's too much work in arguing. We know what their plan's going to be. They're going to try it out for a year and see what happens, right? I'm more excited to see what they're going to do, because I feel like your philosophy is correct, Miz. They like draft picks. So does that mean they're going to move around in the draft? We have no idea what this guy does. I mean, we know that the Buffalo Bills were aggressive in getting players, right? They traded for Stephon Diggs. They took a risk in drafting Josh Allen and making him better. So let's see what this guy does.
It's good.
What's going on, Logan?
I'm good, man. How are you?
A couple guys in the chat, a young man, Big Slay, young man, that's my friend. You got Bobby Murphy. What's going on, Bobby? Give us a call in a few minutes once I move guys out, because I know you have a problem when there's too many guys on the stream with your internet. I know a couple of new people in here. Crazy D, what's going on? First timer. Guys want to call in, the links in the chat. Hit the thumbs up. Help these guys out. All 3 passionate Giant fans.
Yep.
What's going on, Logan?
I'm good, man. I'm excited about the new regime. I think the Giants are going to be competitive in a few years. I have us winning about 7 games next year, but obviously we're not looking to win games right now. We just got to build an offensive line and get the trenches back together and build this team the right way finally.
All right. So what do you think? What does Logan think about? I know we have 2 picks in the draft. You think they can move a couple of players on the team? Maybe we can get a couple of picks before we get to the draft. I don't know. Is that possible?
I have a feeling that we're going to trade Logan Ryan and James Bradbury. I think those guys are going to be gone. We might get a second for Bradbury. He wasn't too good last year. We'd be lucky to get a second, probably a third. And then for Logan Ryan, we could get a 4th or a 5th. And then we might trade Barkley, but I don't think we're going to. And I do think DJ is going to be here for 1 more year.
Well, who would want Logan Ryan? That guy looked like he was toast last year.
All right, that's what I'm worried about.
I don't know. I know that they masked him in terms of defensively, like, oh, he's not that bad. But when you watch the film, you're like, this guy is getting a little long in the tooth. You know what I mean? I mean, to me, it's hard because when you get rid of players, you got to replace them because you only got 53 men, right? So I looked at the roster, there's 53 of them. I counted on Wikipedia and another site I used, and in Wikipedia they had the actual list of guys, and there's about 18. So if you cut 4 of those, now you're at what, 22? That's half your team gone that you still need to replace, and you can't just replace them with UDFAs because if you do that, you're going to have a lack of talent. So that's why I think the 9 draft picks plus maybe 10 if they move up and down, maybe get 11. That's a portion of the guys you're walking out you're getting back, right? But then you need to fill in the other holes. So I'm excited. This is one of the biggest offseasons the Giants will ever have in terms of just what's going on. From new GM, new coach. Senior Bowl's coming up. I know that the Day Bowl's not going to be there for this game that's supposed to be on an NFL Network. There's a game on an All-Star game. So you got all that going on. So I just want to see what they see. I'm excited for the Senior Bowl. See the quarterbacks. All the quarterbacks that we're talking about are playing in this game. Carson Strong, Malik Willis, Kenny Pickett, the kid Ritter from Cincinnati, and then you got Malik. I think I said Malik Willis, but Malik Willis from Liberty. So you're going to get a chance to get a real exposure there. And then we'll really see the linemen. There's a lot of linemen from schools that we've never heard of that are rising up the boards. And those are the guys that you need. Remember, Alex Marpet was linked to the Giants, and he was from Hobart, I think, some college, like whatever college. He ends up going to Tampa Bay in the third round, and look at him. He's playing pretty solid for that Tampa Bay line. Instead, we go with a guy from UTEP in Will Hernandez, who hasn't done anything, outside of, punch somebody or step in somebody's face. Hey, we have the same background, Logan. Great minds think alike. But yeah, man, I just it's not gonna be sexy pick, but
Yeah, no.
It's another head scratcher right there. You mentioned Will Hernandez's name. It's another guy that it's a head scratching how this guy just literally gotten worse every year of his career. I've just never seen something quite like that before, where his rookie year was literally like his best season as a pro, and it's just been downward decline ever since. I can't understand it.
Well, they didn't do him any favors either. I mean,
my thing about Hernandez, Adam, is he really stopped and he really forgot how to play football, or have we not worked on developing him and helping him get better? Because maybe this new regime sees something and feels they can do that.
I think you're onto something, because that's where I was headed. Because he did play on the left side with Nate Solder when he first started, right? And then you move him to the right side, which is different. Then you give him Hal Hunter, who was a booty line coach for 2 seasons. Okay, and then you change it up with this guy who brings in Pat Flaherty, Robert Sale. Mark Colombo, and then DeGlugliamo, and they have COVID. So I think a lot of the development growth has been the fact that they've changed regimes, they've changed offense. They don't know whether they're West Coast or left coast or East Coast, right? So this guy is thrown all over the place. I wouldn't sign him for more than a 1-year prove it deal. Like, listen, man, we need linemen, so you're here. We don't want to lose our guys. But at the same time, if he gets beaten out by a draft pick or something like that, I'm not worried about it. You got a depth player. So let's see, like you said, let's see who they bring in, because that's what I'm intrigued about. I know everyone wants the offensive coordinator, but I want to know about the quarterbacks coach. I want to know about the O-line coach. I want to know about these guys that he's bringing in, because we still have to develop the rest of the team. I feel like sometimes as fans, we get so excited about we get so excited about the new coach, the new GM, and we forget about, hey, what about the O-line? What about the linebackers? What about this coach and that coach? Because that does make your team. I mean, look at McDermott's team. You want to talk about Buffalo? I mean, Matt Milano came out of nowhere. He was from Boston College, like a second, third round pick, and while he was good, he developed in that Bills defense to be one of the best linebackers in the AFC. So I want to see what Daboll is going to do. There's a lot going around. We'll see what's happening, and yeah, it's exciting.
What's going on, Slay? What's going on, man?
Oh, what up, miss? What up, man? I just put something in the chat right quick. I just seen somewhere where it said
stop fighting with your fellow Eagle fans.
I just seen something right there. That young man posted, and but Tom Brady Sr., Tom Brady's dad tells. I just seen a lady or something named Kylan Mills on Twitter say that he's not retiring or something like that, and he said he's like going to do something. I don't know, man. I hope he retires. I just don't want.
I'm gonna have to delete that video I made. Holy shit.
Yeah, I want to make a video. Yeah, don't believe it till you hear it from his mouth, man.
Yeah.
Oh, he's pulling a Brett Favre, huh?
Dude, he can play until he's 50. Like, that's legitimately possible.
Well,
for him.
I
don't know.
he might be leaving
he
because of all
one more year, but
All the
dude
cap
is
problems,
good.
man. Don't they have cap
That's
problems
the
in Tampa
problem.
Bay?
They
Yeah.
do have cap problems, but I don't
No,
know.
they got more than just cap problems, man.
Yeah, that team is gonna get literally exploded. Like that.
I
That
think the
blood.
main reason why he would not come back is not because he can't play another year and doesn't want to. He does. That team's going to lose a lot of players, and he's not going to want to play with just a vanilla team. He wants to play with a team that's competing for the Lombardi.
Absolutely.
Go to Indy. No, I'm playing.
As he should at the age of 44. And if next year he played next year at 45, I would think he wouldn't want to play for anything less than a Lombardi. You know what I mean? He doesn't want to be part of any kind of rebuild, even if it's only for just 1 year. I mean, there's no way Tom
No.
Brady's signed up for anything like that.
Especially at the age that he's in.
If he's not on a team that he feels he can go to the Super Bowl that year, regardless if they make it or not, but he can at least has a good enough team to make a run, then he's not coming back. There's no reason to come back. Now,
Yeah,
if they work some
ain't going to
contracts out
Indianapolis.
and whatever, they work some things out. But here's the problem: they have too many players that have to get paid now.
Absolutely.
Right.
Mhm.
And then not only that, but if you're purging the line, the entire team, you're purging to get under the salary cap. Does he really want to be there if, like you said, they have to put a patchwork line together or a patchwork defense together, and they're not guaranteed a playoff run? I mean, because Brady could only do so much, but that team was stacked. They had Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, they have Gronkowski. I mean, they have OJ Howard. That offense, they have two great backs in Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones. And the line is pretty solid, but now if you purge that, are they going to be the same powerhouse they are? You know what I mean? So we'll see. I mean, like I said, like we said, across the league, a lot of teams are purging. Saints, Green Bay, so maybe we'll be able to pick up some guys, and maybe Miz will be right. Maybe we'll happen to by luck we get into the playoffs or be in the hunt this year.
I personally think a quarterback that's going on the move is Derek Carr from Las Vegas. I think he's going to Indianapolis. That's like a perfect fit. That's a perfect fit.
What meth are you smoking?
You're going to get rid of Derek Carr?
I mean, I think the Colts would do that because I damn sure they don't think Wentz is the guy.
Go ahead.
I tell you, if Brady, if we already spoke about it, if Brady retires, Aaron Rodgers leaves Green Bay, and the Saints are already finished. Okay, that's three powerhouses in the NFC gone, man. The NFC is opens up to some new teams.
Yeah, a lot of
being the
teams are
Giants,
gonna
and of
do
course we
good
got some
next
Eagle
year.
fans in here.
I think,
that opens up for some of these younger teams that are coming up. So
I think the Jets are going to be a good team next year.
Excited.
The Jets are going to be solid next year. I think they're going to be a little bit better.
Yeah, but the Jets are in the AFC. I'm talking about the
AFC, NFC really does not matter. I'm just talking about the teams that will just completely improve. I think the Jets are one of those teams.
The problem with the Jets, though, man, Slay, is they're going to be dealing with that juggernaut that is the Buffalo Bills, man.
And New England. I mean, New England won some games
too. So it's just going to continue to be an uphill battle for them, regardless. I see what you're saying; they'll be an improving team, but at the same time, it's just going to be an uphill battle for them in that division, man.
I agree.
I agree with that.
I don't know what they have to do to get over the hump, but we'll see. Wilson, I like a lot. I think the Jets are building something there. Their defense is not great, but I'm sure if you put the right pieces there, they can perform. But again, you start by beating the teams in your division, and then you start by beating the best team in your conference, and then the AFC is a wild card when you go to the Super Bowl. Right?
Guys, I'm gonna switch some guys in and out because I don't want to have too many. But hang in the chat, I get you right back in. All right, Slay and Logan.
No, I got you, man.
Too long. So, like I was saying, like Buffalo, I think built their team to beat the New England Patriots. They didn't build their team to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. You know what I mean? So now I think the Kansas City Chiefs need to be their target because we've beaten everybody. We know that we can beat, the New England 47-16, whatever that score was. Whatever, I don't remember what that score was, but You beat them. Now you got to go beat the Chiefs. So in our division right now, we got to build to be a good team, but we also got to build to beat the Cowboys because right now they're the division winners. So
Let's
that's
go.
how I
Fuck the
think.
Cowgirls. Fuck the Cowgirls. Fuck the Deadskins. Fuck the Philadelphia Eagles. Sorry to interrupt you. New York Giants going 11-6. Back on my bullshit. We hired Dable. We got Shane. What's up, Jeff? What's up, Adam? What's up, Mac? I'm super hyped about the Royal Rumble tonight. I'm gonna be there like 7:55. Even though it don't start till 8. But
I love
yeah,
it,
man.
watching the Rumble too.
I'm excited, man. I'm excited for the content that everybody's making, whether they Big Blue Crew or not. You know what I'm saying? We are part of the YouTube community. I like that everybody's still being positive, still grinding, still making their content. The Giants are making the right moves. It seems like everybody they hired had a plan to hit the ground running, and they're executing. They ain't lollygagging, they ain't bullshitting, they ain't having unnecessary press conferences, long-winded statements like I'm doing right now. But just excited for the energy. It just feels right. It feels like we're moving in the right direction. So henceforth, I'm back on my bullshit 11-6. Back to you. Sorry to interrupt, Adam.
Well, the thing is, Lou, everybody I feel is positive now. I think I think the rift was the losing kind of brought everybody at each other's throats, and then not having the answers here. These guys look like they're actually competent. They have succinct answers. The guy didn't give a rah-rah speech. He just told you, I'm trying to make this team better. First thing I'm going to start with is O-line. Like, let's obviously that's a glaring need. Second thing he put to bed was, we like Daniel Jones. We're going to build around him. Okay, already 2 check boxes he made. He gets the coach that he wants, which I thought, Mara was going to step in and, do his Mara thing where it's like, oh, I'm scared. I'm going to hire Brian Flores, and not give that title to Joe Shane. He did it. So I'm surprised. I'm excited. I think that makes me more excited is that Mara actually was like, you know what? I'm going to trust the guy I hired. I'm going to trust that what he sees, and I'm not going to step in as much. So hopefully we're going in the right direction. Brian Dable can build an offense that we're not snoozing at halftime. Like the thing that I heard about him that makes me excited is adjustments. Friggin' Jason Garrett and Freddie Kitchens didn't adjust nothing. They were just like, all right, we're just going to keep running this offense. It doesn't work, but hey, you know what?
Just keep doing it anyway.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Saying like we have nothing else, so let's do this. So
it's the definition of insanity. You keep doing the same thing, expecting different results.
That's right, Lou.
But there was I don't know. I think it was on Twitter. I saw somebody. I don't know if it was posted in the group thread on Twitter, but somebody had said something about Joe Shane. It was an article about Joe Shane actually was graded Daniel Jones fairly high coming out in the draft that year. Like that was a quarterback that he did have a pretty high draft grade on. I'm not sure how.
Well, he has all the skill sets necessary. It's just he's been put in bad situation after bad situation. Unfortunately, we did him a disservice by hiring him with a shitty line. We didn't draft well and repair the line, and then we brought in a different offensive coordinator who didn't know how to use him according to his skill set and didn't make adjustments, like Adam just said. So I mean, we set him up to fail, and I'm glad that Mara came out and said it. Seems like he's been watching my videos.
That's also part of why I said earlier what I said. Like, I think this kid's best chance, honestly, might just be somewhere else, not here. I think we may have kind of pretty much scarred this kid for the most part, and he may not even ever be able to get it mentally out of get it out of his head. It's just always going to always be something kind of going to always hold him back.
Yeah.
I think I heard John Mara drop G Nation's name in his press conference. I heard him say, I got a little birdie told me G Nation told me that this is the I need to take some ownership on my team.
I'd have way more than 600 something subs if that was the case.
Go ahead, Miz. Sorry.
No, I'm saying most likely they probably go one more year with him, but I wouldn't be surprised because we don't know these guys. They're not attached to anything over here. Mm-hmm. They could sell everyone that, and then before the draft, some team calls them up for Jones and makes a nice offer, whatever that might be, a 2 and a 4 or a 2 and a. And they might say, you know what, we'll take the picks. We're gonna rebuild, and they may have their eyes on a guy like Malik Willis. Who knows? We don't know. I mean, we don't know. I'm just throwing a name out there.
Well, we're going to need to have
Joe Shane was been attached to, so I don't know.
Well, we're
That's why
gonna
I say the
we're gonna
seventh
need
pick.
a quarterback anyway for backup, because if we have Glennon
Right.
or Fromm on the roster next year, you can
Ugh.
keep
Bro,
your Pepsi,
bro,
your
they should
tickets,
they
and
should already be
everybody
cut.
else.
Mike
Nah, this
Glennon should
guy's
not be on the
horrible.
NFL roster anymore. But that's why that seventh pick is so intriguing, because we're all thinking that Daniel Jones may not be here past next year, right? Unless he does something, spectacular. So that means you're going to need to trade to get picks. If we all think the Giants are going to win 7 games, Lou thinks they're going to win 11. They may not be in the quarterback area to get them. I know what you're saying. You're on that bullshit.
No, but to be clear, I don't really think we're gonna win 11
No, I
games.
know
I'm
that.
just trying
I
to
know
be
that.
positive. I
Right,
think maybe 8-9 games, which is way better than what we've been seeing. So I'll take that.
That's not
You
far
know,
But
fetched.
where does that leave you?
Nine
that
wins is
leaves us
not
with
far fetched if you
progress.
looked at our schedule.
That
No,
leaves
but what
us
I'm
with
saying in the
progress.
draft, that puts you probably at 15. So you're going to need ammunition to move up, is what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
What do you do if Jones gives you 27 touchdowns and we win 8 or 9 games next year?
Keep him.
Yeah, I keep him. Well, I
Well, you
don't know.
can
That's
still
a lot
draft
of
a
money.
quarterback
Yeah,
and keep him as well.
yeah. But I would.
Because
Because I could see that happening. I could see him doing a middle ground where the fan base is like
Jones.
split.
I think Daniel Jones bridges the gap just long enough for us to draft Arch Manning in 4 years.
4 years.
Yeah, that'll be what, 8 seasons Daniel Jones rocked with us if we keep him until we draft Arch Manning.
Yeah. But I'm not trying to flounder at 8 wins for the next 4 years.
No,
You
not
know
at
what I
all.
mean?
I'm definitely not about that.
Neither,
Especially when we know that 3 powerhouses in the NFC are dropping. So it's time for new teams to step up.
Mm.
well, we ain't new.
That's
We
what's
old
going
school.
Oh,
We've been here
that's what
since
Big
day
Blue
one.
said. The NFL Collegiate Bowl is on. So, this is the time where you're going to unearth some guys. I'm hoping that they find some players in this draft, because like Miz says, I think we're going to build through the draft. I think we're getting bargain basement shopping this year in free agency. Dollar Tree,
so.
Walmart, all those stores that sell you decent products, but aren't great. You're not shopping at Saks Fifth Avenue this year in free agency. So, when we when we get our free agents, hopefully they get 2 linemen to compete at least. They don't necessarily, they need to be at least starter quality. They don't need to be home runs, but that's why I think you build a line, and then you take 2 young draft picks in maybe 3, depending on where you draft them, and you build your line like that. I mean, what if we forget about Shane Lemieux? He's still here. I know he wasn't great, but maybe another coach comes in and can get the fire under his belly and make him a serviceable player.
I like Shane Lemieux, man. I wouldn't give up on him. He's young.
Yeah.
Well, he can be coached up, but I mean, if by
young.
week 8 he's still nutting up and wetting the bed, get his ass out of there. But thank you for having me on. I gotta go make something for my little man to eat, and I'll try to hop back on if you're still streaming.
Peace.
All right, thanks for coming on.
Good to see you, man.
I'll see.
You know what's going on?
see you
Evil
guys at the Royal
Uncensored,
Rumble.
my man.
I'll see you there too, brother.
We got Evil Uncensored and Ash in the chat. Just
AK,
popping
what's
on
up?
today. Do a spontaneous little Giants talk. There was 1 million streams last night, so I didn't want to go on. There's no point. So, but snow day, nothing going on here in the Northeast. So why not talk some Giants football? I got a question, Adam, about Logan Ryan.
Yes.
Like, how much of a hit? It will probably make more sense that we're going to keep him 1 more year and then let him go. I don't see anybody trading for him because he's making too much money. If we cut him, which probably doesn't make sense, but if we cut him, what happens? Do we take a hit? Do we save any money?
I think we have to eat whatever's guaranteed to him, because
So then that don't make sense.
he got extended. Remember, he got extended. He came here in 2020 with a deal, $7 million in August, and then they extended him again. So you have basically, I think he had a 3-year extension. So he's here next year and the following year. Probably the following year is when his guarantee comes off the books.
Big Blue in the Bronx. Go take a look at that, because I know you're the one who brought it up earlier. Be honest with you, I think that we have no way of getting rid of him. Nobody's trading.
He's got a $12 million cap hit.
for
$12
him,
million.
and that was a horrible
we cut him.
contract that we made. But
And
what you get out of him if you keep him for one more year is they're gonna look at it this way: he's gonna be a leader for the kids.
that's
So-
what I was just getting ready. That's exactly what I was going to say. I said they may even want to just keep him around just for that purpose alone, just that
Right.
leadership in the locker room, man. Sometimes that's those things are pretty invaluable. Sometimes.
You
So
can't
he's
You wanna
signed-
fire
know
him.
Slomo? Oh, here it is. There it is, Adam. Yeah, hold on, let me bring it up right there. Okay, thank you, Big Blue in the Bronx. And if you want to call in, I'll put the link back out there
So-
again.
So we're going to
Rough
save
draft.
$750,000. There's no point in doing cutting him.
That's
Just leave him
not
on the
worth
roster.
it.
Like you're going to eat $11 million, or in this case, you're going to eat what, $10 million of a salary. I'm not trying to do that just because you want to get rid of him. Like I said, a lot of these guys that we want to get rid of, they come off the books next year, right? So Logan Ryan, I think, comes off the books next year. He signed an extension. I think all of his guaranteed money, he had $31 million he signed for at the
Yo,
time.
Big Blue, get in here. I never had you on, Big Blue in the Bronx. I know I've seen you talk. I watch you all the time, but why don't you get on in here? I know you're really good with this type of stuff.
$31 million contract extension with $20 million guaranteed. So, that means probably he's done after this year in terms of guaranteed money. So you're probably better off just leaving him and riding him out. The Giants have a lot of guys coming off the books next year. So all those guys that we think may be cut, you might as well just leave them here, eat the cap hit, and then when the cap goes up next year, they're gonna go bye-byes. Now, like you said, if somebody loses their safety mid-season and he's playing lights out, yeah, you ship him off. At that point, you're building for a 2023. But at the beginning of the year,
All right.
Mm.
That's your only chance of trading him in season to a contender who lost somebody, a team like the Kansas City Chiefs or someone who's in a race again next year, like you just said. If we could get so lucky, I don't know, but we made some pretty bad. The Giants thought that they could make a run last year. It was a desperation, and they put a lot of money into guys that when we look back now, it's really bad. It's hurting us. I love to get rid of Shepard, man. I want Shepard off this team.
Oh, nice.
It's one of the guys I want off this team more than anyone, man. Listen, it's not personal. I know he's a nice sweetheart of a guy and all this, but if we keep on keeping guys around because we feel like they're nice people and we brought them in here, we drafted them and all that, then we're going to keep on just being the same shit. And I'm pretty sure these guys are coming in here to get rid of those type of guys because they have no attachment.
I mean, I agree. I'm a big Sterling Shepard fan, but at the same time,
is finished, man. Shepard is
he
being
can't.
done.
This guy can't stay healthy, and he's got another devastating injury that's going to linger for a while too. He probably won't even be ready for the start next season anyway. So it's just like at this point, man, you got to cut your losses with him and get. I mean, I don't even know if anybody would trade for a guy. He's fragile. It's like made of glass. He gets literally
Is this
tipped
too
over a plate
many
of
of them?
glass.
Oh, Mac, it's too many. You got injured once, twice. Man, this guy's been injured like 16 times already, man. I mean, come on. He's like that guy. Remember the game back in the day, operator? Like, he's the guy on the team now. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on now. The knee, the toe, the eye, the ear, the finger. I mean, we don't need that, man, because you know what? It's just this guy. I knew it this year. The guy gets on the field, man. And you know what? He looks nice in August. He's running all these routes and he's catching the ball and you get excited, but you know that you're waiting for the moment that he is on the floor screaming. You're waiting for it because you know it's coming. Time to move on, man. Time to move on. Let's go. We got Tony. I still believe Slayton could be something. And like I said, man, I wouldn't throw away these linemen so quick. Pert, Hernandez, Lemieux. Don't just be throwing them away.
No, I mean,
Throw them
man,
away.
because we need linemen. You got coaches coming in now, new coaches, and maybe they could do something. Maybe the last coaches weren't good at that. Maybe the system was broken. I believe that we weren't developing players here for a few years, and I got news for you. Judge didn't change that. As much as he rah talked in that speech, he didn't really change anything, man. All he did was fight and throw offensive linemen coaches out of here. So
that's what he did.
yeah, and bring Keurig machines. Don't forget that.
You know, we don't know what went on in the locker room, but here's the thing, man. If you're fighting with 2-3 coaches and getting rid of all of them, maybe their way's the right way and your way was wrong.
Well, that tells me that you can't take a suggestion. Maybe they were like, "Yo, bro, like, let's try this," and he's like, "Screw you, I'm the coach." You know what I mean? Like, sometimes, and this is what they said about Dable that I feel is very
come on in.
good is that guys can approach him and say, "Hey, listen, this is what I'm seeing out there. Can we adjust?" And he goes, "Okay, let's try it." He gives it a try, and if it works, great. If it doesn't, it doesn't. He doesn't throw it in their face. So I think this is the type of coach right now we need. Maybe I had blinders on with Flores just because I was thinking about his head coaching experience. Maybe this is the guy we need to kind of ease us back into what we need to do. And get the team back right, because I think Darius Slayton, Logan Ryan, I think Blake Martinez, a few of them tweeted that they enjoyed Dable. Every Bills player says that's been on offense says they love the guy, so that's a good sign. I don't need you to be a player's coach. I need you to win games, but it's a good start that the players like you. And getting back to this Daniel Jones thing, what do you think these guys are going to say? That we don't like you? Hey, Daniel, yeah, we don't like you, but we want you to be our starting quarterback this year. You know what I mean? That's not going to work out.
Going on, Niner gang. First time I see you in here. Nice to have you. Sub up to all these guys. You got Adam to hurry up. You got Mac. If you guys want to throw your things in there.
You gotta be a mod to put the links up in the chat.
And Rig, what's up? Why are you so quiet? That's Balky right
You guys won't shut your mouth. Including you,
Come on, Rick.
You got the floor.
Let's hear your idea.
This is all I gotta say.
I know you didn't want Dobble, but you have him now.
No,
so
I don't care.
Deal with it.
I don't care. I would have been happy with both, but it doesn't matter until we fix the roster. I think this year might be a throwaway year because we're gonna still have the same crap. We'll have a few draft picks.
Well, it's funny though. You say it's a throwaway year, but the throwaway year, I guarantee you, is going to be better than the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, but I don't think we'll be above 500.
Maybe
8 and 9. If you got to 8 and 9, wouldn't you be happy?
Yeah,
it's vast improvement.
Listen, I'm not expecting anything. We've been that
7?
bad. So they got to earn my trust. They got to earn my respect.
This Reek?
Yeah, what up, man?
Right. Oh, Ash. Yeah.
Oh, here we
What
go.
up,
Shut
Ash?
up, Rick.
Ash money.
Let's
go.
Shut up, Rick.
Talking
too much foolishness.
I was talking for 30 seconds. Shut the hell up, man.
Listen, down now, children. Don't make me turn this car around. Okay. But I think my expectation for this team is get me to at least 6 wins and look like you're a competent football team. Show me that the offense can. The offense can move. Show me that you have put a good product out there defensively. If you bring back Patrick Graham, I know what I'm going to get out of the defense. And it's the offense that was broken and has been broken for years. And now we're going to see what we can get. And now I don't want to hear any more excuses about Daniel Jones. Like this year to me I think someone said it right. I think the throwaway year is not, I don't want to say a throwaway year because that's kind of negative, but like, yes, I understand if this year we don't perform the way we want to. I wasn't expecting that because you still have moving parts, right? You're still not fully where you want to go. I don't think you want a coach to inherit a quarterback that he doesn't like, right? Because especially if next year the guys are we deem better than Daniel Jones respectively when he was coming out. I don't want a guy to be hamstrung by, Daniel Jones is here. Just let it play out. You got players here. You got talent. You got Barkley, who's going to be here for another year. You don't have any tight ends. I don't want to bring Ingram back. I know Joe Shane was like, yeah, let's bring our players back. Please do not bring Please do not bring Evan Ingram back. I will personally, do whatever you need, Joe Shane, to not bring that guy back. I will do what I'll drive to the airport. I'll scrub, I'll wash all the seats in the stadium. I'll do whatever it needs to do to never see this guy on our team again. Now,
I think Brian Dable could use Evan Ingram the right. I'm not saying keep him, but I'm saying
you're bringing him back. Ugh. Guy's been here 5 years, hasn't done anything.
We tried everything with him. We did the end arounds and we did the freaking.
How do we really know? We've had Pat Shermer come in here, Ben McAdoo, and Jason Garrett.
Because he was drafted for McAdoo's system. If they run spread formation, then he's exactly what they need to do. He's not an inline 12 personnel type tight end. Now, if you look at Buffalo, they run all types of formations: inline, outline, spread. So for me, they look at Dalton Knox is a guy who blocks and catches the ball. So I don't know if Evan Ingram fits that profile. Is he a great weapon? Yes. Can he be utilized? Yes. Was he not utilized correctly here? Yeah. I don't know what Jason Garrett was looking at when he was going down this play sheet and looking at 88. He's like, yeah, let me run a curl route with this guy because he ran a 4.4 at the combine and his speed is going to be shown off in a 5-yard turnaround hitch route. I mean, he has no body to body anybody up as a tight end. Those are Rudolph routes. Those are Dalton Schultz type of routes. Jason Ertz, those type of tight ends can run those routes because they're bigger body tight ends. When you have a guy who's 6'3", barely 240 pounds, soaking wet, and you're running him on a curl route, where was this guy in the red zone? How about a red zone fade every once in a while? How about a seam pass? I mean, even the dumbest fan like myself can say, why don't you just run that guy straight? That's it. Run the guy straight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm some Joe Schmo that sits in my living room that yells at the TV that can utilize Evan Ingram better.
I bet you Dabo will find the most use out of Caden Smith because he's most like Dawson Knox in age, skill set.
I'm excited to see how Dable uses Kadarius Toney.
Oh yeah,
I'm really excited for that.
I'm going to be excited to see
on the field.
Dable's
Kenny Galladay score a touchdown in your giant uniform. That's what I'm going to be excited to see.
I think I'm going to pop confetti when that happens, Mac.
Niner gang, no.
I'm gonna pop some champagne when that happens.
Dude, you're too young. You're only like 13. You can't do that.
You know, we paid him. I don't know what his salary is now, but we paid him mad money for 500 yards and no touchdowns.
He just wasn't like. There was no way he was going to succeed with this, especially with this line, because with his routes, it takes time for it to develop. By the time you drop back, he's not even past 15 yards. If he's running a go route.
We need a tight end in the draft. Get rid of Ingram.
1 second.
Get a tight
How
end.
about we have a coach that utilizes our personnel?
Bronx, what's going on,
What's going on, guys?
3rd or 4th round. Come on.
Hey, man. Is this Big Blue in the Bronx?
Yes, sir.
Oh, great.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on the coach?
Well, Dable's been my number one guy from the start. I know a lot of people like Flores, but I just could not get over all the issues. Not just with Tua, but he had 4 coordinators in terms of offense in 3 years. And when you need offense and when your offense has been dog shit for how many years, it's not necessarily the greatest thing to bring him in. So I wonder how he did in the interviews answering those type of questions. But he'll probably get a job somewhere else as a head coach. I don't see him settling for a defensive coordinator job.
Yeah, jobs out there.
Right.
New Orleans job. I could see him in New Orleans. But I don't know. I think Brian Dable was the right move because you didn't have now, especially with Patrick Graham is gone. If Patrick Graham leaves, we get apparently, I don't know if this is true or if anybody checked this or not, but we get 2 conditional 3rd-round picks, one for this year and one for next year.
That's true. Yep.
Yeah. So, and there's other candidates out there for defensive coordinator positions, but if we bring in Brian Flores, you're gonna have to rely on positional coaches like Pep Hamilton, Mike Kafka, quarterback coaches, passing game coordinators,
A lot of
like
unproven
that.
dudes.
Yeah, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying they would be failures. I'm just saying, I wouldn't, it wouldn't give you the utmost confidence in the offense, especially after, we had an offense that was at the bottom for 2 years in a row. And Belichick, I don't know, Belichick disciples they're not good with coordinators. I don't know what it is. Brian Flores had problems with his coordinators.
Yeah.
Joe Judge had problems with his coordinators. Josh McDaniels had problems with his coordinators. I think the dude that coached Detroit, I forgot it. I always forget his name. Yeah, I think he had a problem with his one of the coordinators down there in Detroit. I'm not sure, but You know, I don't know. They just don't have. They have problems with like their coordinators. And it
Yeah, let
doesn't
me
seem to end well.
let me say this about you were obviously talking about inexperienced coaches and stuff like that. If we had to pick a defensive guy overall, my brother's a Jets fan, so I'm just going to point that out.
I
And
agree with that.
you know, first part of the year, they hired Mike LaFleur from the 49ers as their offensive coordinator, and this was the first time he was ever a coordinator. So the offense sucked the first half of the season, then they turned it around. The thing with, Ken Dorsey, hopefully he does come over, is he's not going to be, he's going to be a rookie. He's not going to be calling the plays. It's going to be Dable. So it's going to be like he's going to be the offensive coordinator, and if you hire a defensive coordinator that's been experienced like Martindale or Vic Fangio, you don't have to worry about that side because it's like you have a head coach on the defensive side of the football as well.
Like a Pat Shermer, Mike Shula thing.
I hated that. But let me ask you this, Big Blue in the Bronx.
Sure.
Do you think Ken Dorsey's going to come over and then not want to call plays when he's going to probably have a chance to do that in Buffalo? Like, why would I want to come here, get more money to do nothing?
That's a good point. I know that at least via Twitter and that stuff, that's all coming down to money. And just overall, even in an unbiased opinion, I would rather call plays for Josh Allen and just be the coordinator over there than coming to New York, not calling the plays. But it's down to money. And one thing I heard about not Pat Shermer, Joe Judge, and this was according to, I believe, Lawrence Tynes. He said that one of the problems with Joe Judge, and I know Ash was talking about Belichick coordinators, is that he was very, hands-on in terms of he wasn't letting his coaches coach. That's what I feel happened with the special teams, because you notice the first 2 years under Shermer with Thomas McGahee, Riley Dixon's doing good, Aldrich Rosas was good, the special teams unit was good, and then 2 years under Judge, it completely just collapses. So hopefully they get a guy in here who knows what they're doing, unless McGahee stays.
Here's another thing about the Ken Dorsey situation. I think, he won't be calling the plays, but I feel like it allows Brian Dable to not necessarily spend time with the offense, like during practice, and like he could focus on all the players on the field. Like kind of like, when in Joe Judge's first season, when he had the whole issue with Mark Colombo, and Joe Judge was spending a lot more time with the offensive line in practice, and the offensive line was doing good. I feel like that kind of is kind of a similar situation, but kind of the opposite here. Like during practice, if something's going wrong with the defense or something, Brian Dable could overlook that, and he'll be fine, knowing that Ken Dorsey could take control of the offense during practice and stuff. And also, I think it gives sort of a protection, or not protection, but sort of a comfort for Daniel Jones in terms of Ken Dorsey was a quarterback before, and he did play that position very well in college. I never saw Ken Dorsey play in the NFL, so I'm not gonna say anything about that, neither here or there. But it kind of can kind of be with Daniel Jones and trying to work some things out. That's just what I get from it in terms of him. Now, I know if I was in Ken Dorsey's position, and even I'm not even just being biased for the Giants, but I'm just gonna go wherever I get the most money, But I know Ken Dorsey's probably gonna want to call plays. So
what if he wants to be a head coach? You know what I mean? Like, if you're going to a place you don't call plays, you're not going to become a head coach. The one thing I wanted to say about this play calling situation, I hope he's more like Jim Fossil. And what I mean by that is he comes in, and if the shit hits the fan, that's when he'll say, okay, I'm taking over the play call.
Yeah, take a step back or something like that.
Right, like Jim Fossil did, where he came in and they're like he was an offensive guru, and he had no quarterbacks to work with. But he came in, and once the offense was struggling, that's when he was like, all right, if I'm going to go down with the ship, I'm going to start calling the plays. And I just think that when you don't call plays, you're more into the game. So, like, Lorenzo Carter misses a tackle. I want you to run over to Lorenzo Carter and be like, what the hell, man? You know what I mean? I don't need you looking at a menu trying to pick out what your next play is on your diner menu, because you're trying to, we did this play. No, be the CEO of the team. Let your offensive coordinator do their job. You hired them to do that. And let them call plays, because Shermer used to do this, right? He used to walk around practice with his whistle and let Mike Shula do all the play calling. And then he would go to the game, and it would be a totally different play caller in Daniel Jones's ear. And I mean, yes, they worked, but there were situations where I'm like, yo, this doesn't seem to work right for me. There was always weird incidents with Shermer that I feel like if he was he was the head coach and let Mike Shula deal with these issues, they would have had a smoother transition in some of the games they played.
Yeah, I agree with that. And there's also the possibility, if Dorsey comes over and if they bring that guy I mentioned in the chat, Shea Tierney, who currently is the assistant quarterbacks coach in Buffalo right now, if they bring him over, and obviously, once again, Dable still, needs to be hands on with the whole team overall because he is the head coach, he's not a coordinator. But in a situation that could end up happening if those two come over from Buffalo, you could have Tierney working with the quarterbacks and not necessarily having Dable worrying about them. And you could also have something we probably haven't had in a while, have Ken Dorsey in the booth as a coordinator if he calls plays. If he doesn't call plays and it's stable, then it's going to be a different story. But I've just pointed it out there.
True that.
Yeah.
I
I
don't know why I
think
got so silent.
I would allow. It would be nice if we could get Dorsey because Dabo's a first time head coach, even though he's been in the league forever. So I don't really look at him like a rookie head coach, like Judge was. But still, be nice to him for first year with a Giants team that has a lot of issues to let him concentrate on being a head coach.
Right.
So so if we can get a Dorsey. And as far as defense, if Graham stays, then he stays. He's been here. Okay, I'm not going to be upset about it. But part of me really rather have Wink.
I
I
mean,
think a
we
lot
could.
of fans feel that way. Like we want to just make the whole
Yeah.
change.
I just think
How you
if you
guys
can
feel
get a
about
better,
that?
if you can get a better guy, that Wink, you do it. No disrespect to Patrick Graham, but Wink Martindale has had a better track record, obviously better talent, but a better track record with defenses. And so for me, if Wink says no, I'm going to Vegas with McDaniels or some other team, fine, but at least explore the option. Don't just be like, all right, well, that's
We're
it.
getting a third round pick out of it. We're gonna have 3 third rounders.
Well, then yeah,
that
get him out the door
brings
now.
up a lot. I love Patrick Graham. I'm not gonna try to make it seem like just want to get him out of here. But the fact that you're getting anything for a coordinator leaving is that's a unique situation. So we would have 3 third rounders. That could be an extra playmaker and you're on your team. That could be ammunition to move up if you want to take a guy or something like that. And then you'll have another third rounder next year. So I love Patrick Graham. Hopefully, my uncle's a Minnesota Vikings fan. I've been telling them to hire Patrick Graham as their head coach. Hopefully they do, but they interviewing Jim Harbaugh. I think they did that because Jim Harbaugh says his family likes Michigan,
Yeah.
and they're all like supplemented there. So maybe it's somewhere that's not really that far away, and he can, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a
One
place
thing-
where he
I
doesn't
don't
have to
know if
let
he's,
his family.
I don't know if he's leaving Michigan, to be honest.
I mean, they were saying the Raiders had a big interest in Harbaugh, so
Still, it's a negotiation tactic.
Yeah.
I mean, because to me, if I'm declaring to go to Michigan, and I'm a recruit, I'm going to want to make sure that he's 100% there, not like, oh yeah, I'm there, and then leaves, and then I'm with some booty ass coach, and Michigan fails, and I don't get my dream of going to the, winning a championship and possibly going to the NFL. So I mean, I would hope that Jim Harbaugh. I think that he's playing the money game. Really, hey, I just won 12 games. We were one of the 4 finalists in the college football playoffs. Give me my money.
I want this guy to. I want this GM to find us one more pick at least in this draft. That's what I want. I want him to go out here between now and draft night and find us one more pick. I don't know, realistically in the top 4 rounds. Go get me another third. If you could get another, I don't know, second or third rounder, just one more pick, man. I think it would mean a lot. I'm talking about without trading down. That's a whole other scenario.
Yeah. Imagine you could do that and still trade down. That would be, I don't want to trade that 5th pick unless it's something like spectacular.
But who's going to be traded on this team?
Well, and I've been saying this, even if Shane, and with all the stuff that said like he sent scouts to scout Malik Willis, even if he didn't, he really wanted to stick with Daniel Jones. I'm still, being a devil's advocate and saying that I'm in love with one of those quarterbacks, with Pickett, maybe Carolina, because Matt Rule, he scouted, or not scouted, but he what's the word? Um, recruited. He recruited Kenny Pickett. Maybe he wants Kenny Pickett. Maybe Atlanta wants a quarterback, or Washington or somebody, and they could trade in front of the Giants with like the Jets or the Falcons or Texans. I mean, not the Falcons, the Texans, maybe the Lions, because they still got a lot of draft capital. Maybe they want to, do more, and you can get an edge or Neal fall down to that fifth spot. So because if you get two quarterbacks, or at least a quarterback, or no, two quarterbacks taken in that top five, but on the top four picks, one of the edge rushers is going to fall down. If Jaguars take Neal, and then let's say Detroit takes a quarterback, if they don't want to use Goff, because they're not going to want to wait till their second first round pick is pick 26. They want to take a quarterback at pick 2. What if Houston? I mean, nobody's going to want to come in with Davis Mills, So maybe they want to take a quarterback, and then you got the Jets, So that's going to have at least Aiden Hutchinson or Kayvon Thibodeau going to be on that board, at least. So yeah, edge rushers taken. So
I was gonna say the beauty of that is every year, man. This is why I love this whole system. The draft. We talk about the quarterbacks not being so good right now, but they're still quarterbacks, and they're going to get pumped up by all the scouts, all the media people are going to pump them up, and they're just, like I said, they're going to fly up draft boards. And the reality is, some people are going to go up there and get guys, man, and that's going to favor the New York Giants. I feel, who are sitting in very good position in draft positions to get the guys they truly want, because we're not necessarily looking for a quarterback, at least not with those first 2 picks at number 5 and 7. So I mean, I think we're sitting in.
Well, I think
really
you got to
good
pretend,
spot
like
right
you said, you got to pretend so that somebody could be like, give you a king's ransom to move up. Because if someone trades to the Jets, which I don't think the Jets will move at 4, but let's say hypothetically speaking, Carolina thinks the Giants are going to take Malik Willis from back channel avenues, right? Do they want to trade up with the Giants and say, hey, listen, or even the Jets or something like that? Like, let's do something. Let's make something happen with these trades, because I think next year you're going to need the 2 picks that we got this year. You're going to do a similar deal so you can move up the package and get a quarterback next year, because we all hoping that this team is around 6 to 7 to 8 wins, which will put you in the middle of the draft, probably 15, right? And unless you think that there's a Mac Jones coming out there, you might have to trade up a few picks to get the guy that you want. So why not trade like 7, grab a first rounder next year, and then next year you have 2 firsts to package with something else to try to move up and get the quarterback that you want for your system if they go that.
And I think I'm gonna do a stream and probably call the Senior Bowl next week. And of course, if anybody wants to come on, but I just think that is gonna, like, that game, however anybody performs, is gonna boost a lot of quarterback stock, because all the quarterbacks in the draft that are high rated are seniors, and they're gonna be participating in the Senior Bowl. I think the only quarterback that's not is Corral, because he's injured. So, but yeah, I think I'm gonna call that next. I think it's Saturday. Next Saturday.
Saturday 1:30, I think.
Yeah, I'm probably up. Yeah, because I'm not gonna be doing that, so I'm gonna call that game and just do like a hangout stream or something.
One of the coaches.
I know what these guys want, because we always talk a lot, but we don't get to talk to you often. 5 and 7, you have to make 2 picks. Go ahead right now.
Let's see. If an edge rusher is there, I'm going edge at 5, unless it's Karlaftis, my personal opinion. I would take O-line if it's now one of the top 2. I'm somewhat okay with drafting, because I know there's rumors apparently about the, possibility the Giants take a linebacker like Nakobe Dean at 7 or trade down if they can. I would be okay with that, but I would, in my opinion, if you don't get edge, I would just rather go 2 O-line than go into the later rounds. And obviously, I know that the edge 1 position is important, but we'll see what happens. Also, Just as a side note, one of the coaches that the Giants need to throw the bag at, and right now I think he's still under contract because they're hiring a new head coach and they haven't really made a decision whether to retain him. Mike Munchak, the former Steelers offensive line coach, who's with the Broncos at the moment.
I love that.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, I mean, technically he can leave, right?
Yeah, search for new opportunities, just like Patrick Graham is doing, just like others are doing. So I would assume so.
So let's hope. Let's hope. I mean, this guy so far, if he gets Wink Martindale, Ken Dorsey is already off to a good start. But like I was saying before, you need the coaches for the QB, for the O line, the rest of the rest of the team, because you don't want your DBs to stink all of a sudden when they were your
DBs coach.
Excuse me.
I would keep the DBs coach personally.
Too. I wanted Sam Spence, but apparently he left, so I liked him. Coach Chaos. He really improved that defensive line and really helped Leonard Williams kind of get where Leonard Williams needed to be. So I'm sad to see him go because I don't know what it means for Leonard Williams. Will we see the guy who had 11.5 sacks, 6.5 sacks this year, or will we see the same guy that we saw with James Betcher's defense where he was a disruptor, but he didn't get home to the quarterback? So
yeah, I think if you bring in Wink Martindale, the Giants will be way more aggressive. I mean, that was his whole philosophy in Baltimore. For many years he was there, and he brings the best out of pass rushers. So, I think Leonard Williams, and especially if we get a dominant an edge before Aiden Hutchinson. And Aiden Hutchinson has always been a good player, but that Ohio State game really boosted him. He really skyrocketed after that Ohio State game, and for me personally, it was painful to watch. But that. Aiden Hutchinson, but I've always been on the Kayvon Thibodeau train, and I really love Kayvon Thibodeau. And I don't think Thibodeau is the edge rusher that Hutchinson is, but he ain't no joke. Kayvon Thibodeau is still a goon. So, and I kind of see him and Aziz as a tandem. I think it could, and especially have a Wink Martindale here, that could be, that has serious potential because Kayvon Thibodeau doesn't even have to be the number one dominant edge rusher, right? As long as those two just work hand in hand, you're going to have a really good pass rushing tandem on the edge. And then you put Leonard Williams back and Dexter Lawrence back in their natural positions at the defensive tackle. I don't think your defensive line really misses a beat, And a guy that I really fell in love with, and I don't really want us to take him just because we have other holes, but if we had those holes cleared up, I would love to take him. Is Jordan Davis, the defensive tackle from Georgia? That dude is a monster.
Oh yeah, he's
listen, bro.
Insane.
If you put him on your defensive line, nobody's running on you. Nobody's running on you. They're gonna have to go to the outside because nobody's running on you. And he's been somebody that I've been watching for a couple of years. Or the past 2 years. He's an absolute monster.
Yeah.
As far as edge rushers go, I think New York Giant fans, man, we kind of were spoiled. We went through a little era where we had Strahan and Umanure, tucking guys all at the same time, and we got a little spoiled with that. But I mean, for what it's worth, it was a recipe for success. You have a few 3 to 4 competent guys. You get a good rotation, steady rotation. You just keep feeding top end pass rushers at an offensive line, man. That's how you get.
But if you look at it, they only made one guy in the top 10 in that D line. That was JPP. Okay, Strahan was a second round pick, third round pick in his day. Human Euro was a second round pick. Justin Tuck, a third round pick. And then you had Kiwanuka, who was basically a second round pick, drafted 32 in the 2006 draft. So you can find them all over the draft. It's about how you develop them. Because remember, I think Strahan said one of his best coaches, Mike Waffle, helped him develop into a great lineman. So I would like to see what the D-line coaches to kind of get these players to go. Because Ozito Ojulari, they keep telling me is a Robin. I don't think he's a Robin. I think he's a Batman. I mean, 8 sacks for a rookie who has to fill out, right? Remember, he's not on grown man strength yet. He's on college man strength. So now he already came in pretty big. Now you put him on the NFL program, which I don't know what they eat in the NFL program, but let's just say you get a little bigger in the NFL from year 1 to year 2. How do I know that he's not the next human Euro? You know what I mean? How do I know he's not next kind of guy. He's built like Umanura. He's built like the same. I looked at Umanura's measurables, and I looked at Aziz Ojolari. They're both 6'3". They're both about 240, 245. And, they both have that strip sack move, and they both get off the line like sprinters. So, if Aziz comes in here and gives me an OCU Manura career, that's A plus for me. I don't need much.
And that's why I'm saying, like, I don't think, like, as much as all of us would love a dominant edge rusher, I don't think, we would have to have it just to have a successful pass rush. And that's why, like, I kind of more intrigued to Kayvon Thibodeau, because if you just look at a lot of edge rushers now, like, the edge rusher position now is more of an elusive position. Like, you still need the strength, you still need, that. But like Aiden Hutchinson, and correct me if I'm wrong, but like I don't see like he has some technique, but he's more of a power guy for me. Like, to me.
Well, he's an all-around D end, really.
Yeah, I'm just saying, but like in terms of his technique, like he's gonna bull you. Like he's not as more successful getting around you than he is just mauling you, right? Kayvon Thibodeau is just like that dude that's gonna get through, like get around you, get through you. Like he's elusive, and that I don't know. I just think that's what draws me more to him. And if he's not even like, if he could just be like a Montez Sweat more than a Chase Young, I think that would be like a good for us, But he does have some injury history, and that's what concerns me.
I don't think you would have to worry that much.
Tuco
Like,
says, do your homework on Cameron Thomas.
my personal opinion, like, what was I going to say? For the few years that Don Martindale was the DC with the Ravens, he really knew how to maximize his talent, because I don't think the defensive side of the ball was always top tier talented. But one thing definitely is that he, even if you don't have like a top, because I think if I'm getting my facts and statistics right, their only number one guy was Matt Judon, and the rest were rotational guys and all that other stuff. And then Judon left this year. They get drafted Odafe away and a couple other guys. But with that being said, I don't think you need to worry too much about, getting two prominent edge rushers to, number ones. I don't think you need to do that, because he has one of the highest blitz percentages. And if you keep the defensive backfield the way it is, if you just trade Bradbury, release him, whatever, and then keep Aaron Robinson and the cornerback duo and the cornerback group you have, you won't need to worry about, oh my God, is the secondary going to give up the big play like they did on James Betcher? I don't think that's going to be a worry. I just think that for Martindale's defense, you need to get good linebackers.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. And that's why I was saying Nakobe Dean could be, he could draw like as an option if they try to trade back or something, or even at 7, to be honest, because we still got the combine and stuff. And but and even with the secondary, I mean, I got to do some more research, but he really turned Marlon Humphrey into like a dominant corner for like a couple of years down there. Marlon Humphrey kind of had an off year this year, but Marlon Humphrey in the past years was really a good dominant corner for them. So the secondary could be helped as well, but I don't know. James, with keeping James Bradbury, it's kind of like a slippery slope for me in terms of a personal mental decision. Because Brad, this year, I don't know if he just overperformed last year, and then now like the mistakes he made, it just like made us not appreciate him as much. But I don't know, he kind of got, kind of took a big step off this past year. And some Carolina fans, because I'm in North Carolina right now for school, and like they've been telling me about James Bradbury, and like don't get too hyped over that first year, because he has some tendencies of slipping. So, I mean, it is their decision whether they want to keep James Bradbury or not. But I do think that we should. I'm not gonna lie. I would, if they could make a package to move up, I wouldn't mind taking a move up into the first round again. And I know we did this with DeAndre Baker, but I could see that a possibility. Maybe getting like a Sauce Gardner or the dude from Clemson if he falls.
I don't think Bradbury leaves this year. He had 4 interceptions this year. It's hard to come by interceptions as a DB, considering Adoree Jackson only had like 1, right? Adoree Jackson, I think, is our number 1 corner. But if you're going to do a Wink Martindale, you're going to need press corners. And what does Bradbury do the best? He's a press corner. Press man is what he plays best, right? And Wink Martindale likes to run a lot of cover 0, which means you're going to be in a lot of man-on-man situations. And while I don't necessarily, what I think happened last year was they were trying to do some funky stuff with the defense because he was off receivers a lot, and all they would do is turn around and catch the ball in front of him, and he would make a tackle.
Yeah.
And then once they started to adjust, he played along the line. He got better as the season went on. I don't mind James Bradbury. He's not, to me, an issue to get rid of. Like a guy like Shepard, what do you do with him? I mean, I like the guy, but the guy can't stay healthy. And I don't want to be paying him money for a guy that ain't staying healthy when I can go out and sign Jamison Crowder for far less, for far less money. You know what I mean? And who's going to take him? No one's going to be like, yeah, let me give you Sterling Shepard for a 2nd-round pick. You out of your damn mind if you think that's happening. They might give you a bag of footballs and say, here you go. You know what I mean?
I think Belichick tried to trade for Shepard, I think 2 years ago. There was like some rumors about that. But the only thing that draws me away from Wink Martindale is like you said, that cover 0. Like that's the thing they've been getting beat on a lot this past year. But
that's what you live by the blitz, you die by the blitz. I'd rather go down punching than do what we did the last year and just let guys move up and down the field. I mean, if Leslie Frazier had any cojones, they would have blitzed on every play against Mahomes. What they did instead was they did man coverage across the board. Tyreek Hill beat him, and then the safety number 21. I don't know what the hell he was thinking, taking the wrong angle, and that guy just burns it for a touchdown. Like that to me, they just weren't ready for the moment. I'm not worried about the blitz because if you're up in a game, you're going to see more passing, and that's when the cover 0 is going to, come into effect. You know what I mean? But if you play prevent defense and do what you got to do at the end of the game, you shouldn't be worried about that, right? Wink Martindale brings an edgier type of defense for us that we haven't seen in a while. He's going to bring dogs on the defense,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a. Oh, go ahead, man.
I was gonna say, Miz, I'm about to hop off right now. I'm gonna get ready for my stream later on in a few. And get something to eat before I start that stream. So I'm gonna hop off. Thanks for having me on, Miz. Appreciate it, man. Nice talking to y'all fellas, man.
All right, man.
See y'all
I can't
around.
wait for your stream. That shit gonna be hard.
Yeah, I'm gonna wind down also, guys. But go ahead if you guys have your last thoughts on what you want to say. And
oh no, I'm good.
I'm like, we'll see about another stream. I don't know. It's getting quieter, so I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm probably about to do more videos than I am streams. To be
I'm
honest.
about to get ready for this Royal Rumble. But the last thing I'll say is the Giants are moving in the right direction the first time in a long time. I'm excited for all the new pieces coming together. Let's hope that they can gel quickly so that we can get a good product out there starting week 1. And, Big Blue the Bronx, nice meeting you. You do great stuff. I'm going to look to try to sub up to you. You seem to know your stuff, so I appreciate your information, your knowledge. Nice meeting you, Miz. I'll see you on the text messaging.
Talk to you. It's good to
Talk
have
to
you
you like
guys
5
on.
minutes.
Thanks for coming on and supporting. Thanks for running this good stream. And that's it, guys.
All right.
Have a good night. Miz is out till the next stream.
Peace.
Peace.